The original concept of that movie was so pessimistic, and it was wrong. And you guys busted my balls for it, which I'm glad you did. They don't get together, everything fucks up, and then a year down the line, he sees her at a gas station. She doesn't even fucking see him. He sees her at a gas station, and she's pregnant, and she looks sad. And I was like, first of all, that's sexist. Second of all, that's stupid. Third of all, that's just sad and disappointing. You went through this whole ride for that. So that's what it was at first. Mm-hmm. Tried to finish that. I couldn't even look at that. I couldn't even look at it, especially what was going on at home. My parents, my family's breaking up. My parents' relationship is going crazy. They're super dramatic. There's domestic abuse and worse. There's kids around being traumatized. And here I am trying to make a fucking movie.
Right.
Like, it was the hardest thing in the world I ever had to do, to the point where when it finally got done, I couldn't even look at it. Because it just hurt. It broke my fucking heart to look at it.
Did the footage remind you of those times? Like, you couldn't look at the footage without thinking about everything that was going on behind it?
Yeah. And the way it was written too, like originally there were other characters.
Right. And we had monologues where we were talking about the home life.
The home life.
And like how we felt.
It was just a hard place to be in,
Yeah.
So I left, and then I moved to Burbank. And you were right there in North Hollywood.
Right.
The great thing is that you and I got closer, and we were like, what if this movie isn't done? When that happened, man, that was amazing. Like, I was like talking to Jess. I was like, dude, like, I fucked up. I fucked up the first time, but there's some stuff that we can still salvage. But I was like, what if the characters actually got together? And then I started basing it on my own relationship. And then since you came on as a writer, you started basing it on your former relationship and all that stuff. And then just like we started meshing. And it was just like, this is relationship piece. This isn't just like about one dude. This isn't just about a couple of friends that could have, but never did. It was like, it became a whole thing. It became an entire journey. You looked older. Wendy was like, she was in a whole different place in her life. She was a little bit pissed off at me because I never got the movie done. And then like we hit her up and I was like, look, dude, like we can make this better. We can do this. There's that scene where they sit down, the first fight in the bed.
Yeah.
And that scene is almost verbatim a fight that Jess and I had.
Oh, wow.
I was going through so much shit, and then neither of us were doing the things that we wanted to do. And that's what the movie became about at that point. Where it was like, we had all these things that we said we were going to achieve and we never did. What didn't work is that we still didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Because I remember what wasn't working. Essentially, it felt like, wait a minute. Going back to, it was like almost too on the nose.
Yeah.
It started becoming like, it turned into a preachy relationship kind of thing in terms of learning lessons. But wait a minute, but that's not how life is. No one on one side knows it all, and then is the better person, and it's like.
And it was my immaturity, I think, too, that ultimately led to it. Is like me still trying to one up myself in the relationship where I couldn't admit that I was wrong. I couldn't admit I was wrong about this. And I think Wendy saw that too, in the screenplay, and she'd given me some notes on it, but I was kind of being stubborn about it.
Okay, but we were still trying to salvage it. I remember, like, because at this point you're still trying to. This is on your plate. You're still trying to edit it. I'm still trying to
do everything. And we finished it, and I put it all together. I finally did it. I put it all together, and I looked at it, and I was like, "This sucks. Why can't I see past myself here?"
Mm.
It was like looking at 2 years worth of my shortcomings. I worked really hard the first time, and I had a worse situation. This time, my situation was easier, and I still fucked up. And then you going through everything you had gone through, and that was your idea too, because you finally saw it. Like, no, I think you saw it all along, but you finally helped me see it. So yeah, what if they broke up? And this is where he goes now. Because we ended it last time. We knew they were going to break up, but then that fight wasn't very good.
It was it was almost too premeditated. It was almost too many conclusions too fast. For how long they've been together, for what they've gone through, and
it's
that's
like,
what didn't
all
work.
Of a sudden we're just gonna put it all together.
Yeah,
which is why I like that. At the end of the day, you put it together, and you were like, we're just gonna take bits and pieces because this guy's trying to figure it out, and that's what it is. That's what the movie is. I'm still trying to figure it out,
right?
As opposed to there's a conclusion, because there's not. there is no fucking conclusion. Life goes on. You just don't know where the fuck you're going. It's crazy that that movie had to happen the way it did, because it was a completely humbling experience, to the point where the third time we did it, the guy was humbled. Now he's missing all the things, even the fights. You know, he's missing every fucking part of it. Like, regardless if it was good or fucking bad, or he was right or he was wrong. It was the experience and the journey into where the fuck am I gonna go now? I'm gonna stay with my brother? Like, really? My younger brother at that? You know, and that was always my biggest fear. And that movie took on a life of its own at the end of the day. And it was cool because you you get to live with those characters. Mm-hmm. You know, like, doing this 3 times, it was like I got to see these characters at different points in their lives.
Right.
And it was beautiful. They became real people because we gave them real memories.